And on
Yeah.
some sort of warning for now.
I talked to,
I didn't
What's
want
wrong with
to.
your
I
lady
talked to,
having this
a
one?
You said like
friend of
in the
mine that I
city
call an
attorney
uncle. He's been around a long time. He said, man, I ran right through that thing. He said, there haven't been a stop sign on that road in 150 years. I'm not stopping.
You got it handled.
It is a little tight to make that turn though, coming off of, you got cars parked.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, we'll go ahead and get started with this special meeting. I appreciate everyone being here this evening. We'll call this meeting to order and declare that we do have a quorum. So, we've got two really hot topics that we're going to discuss tonight, or two important topics that we're going to discuss tonight. So let's get right to it. On action, number 3, possible action on FY 2024 audit as presented on December 9th, 2024. Who wants to go first?
I've reviewed through everything that she said in the meeting that night. I haven't encountered anything. I have a spreadsheet, that we also kind of compare stuff, and everything looks very comparable. I haven't gotten through the audit entries that they sent me yet, but I don't have any issues with it. If you guys didn't see anything that concerned you.
Looked good to me.
Yeah,
Brad?
Nope, I'm good.
I'll make a motion to receive it as presented on December 9th.
Second?
Second?
Moody,
Yes.
Hamilton,
Yes.
Bailey,
Yes.
Mendiola,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes. All right, item 4, consider and discuss financing the retirement and refinancing of certain financial obligations of the Sequoia County City of Salsa Hospital Authority and possible action. Todd, you want to go first?
Well, I know most of you heard me go on and on the other night, so maybe Josh was the only one that wasn't here, and I'll be glad to go through that a little bit again. But obviously, we want to use our sales tax that is dedicated to us and does not roll off to take out a bond, which you guys would have to do for us, and to pay off our obligations, at least most of them, and move on, kind of give us a clean slate. We think it's the best thing for our financial situation at this point in time. It's the best use of that tax that's there, instead of just having it sitting there as something that we operate off of. We've cussed it and discussed it, on our board. We're all unanimous on it as far as thinking this is the best way to go. We do have some great things going on at the hospital, and getting this kind of down the road would help us with one of the things we want to do is our new Jerry Psych unit. We're at 41 beds. That's what we're licensed for. That doesn't ever happen because 41 beds, we wouldn't have the staff to take care of that many people. But if we can take those 10 beds and move them to a Jerry Psych situation, that's going to be income. We think someday maybe it's enough income that it makes up for that sales tax, gives that back to us, and we can operate off of it. But it's pretty exciting venture for us to do. It's a long build out, a lot of stuff that has to change in those 10 beds. You've got locking doors and things you have to do to get it ready, but it can be done. We're proceeding quickly with it. It's pretty exciting because, with Jerry Psych, and we have, the VA center and then nursing homes in the area, the clientele is there, and they don't need to be going to Fort Smith. They don't need to be going anywhere, but they need to stay right here. So I think that's one of our positives that we have going on. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I don't want to go through my whole presentation if you guys have already heard it.
So can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
I want to hone in on that for just a second.
Sure.
As far as the psych unit, as far as what I understand it, it won't be any cost to the hospital, that the doctors that are putting that together will do the retrofit that needs to be done. They'll pay for that?
That is correct. That is correct. They're making a huge investment in our hospital that we get to keep. So they're putting 2x4s up and some equipment and things like that. And they have some risk, but they think it's worth doing, and they're going to pay us a monthly fee to have those facilities. And it's going to take them a little while to pay that off. We're going to still make money while they're paying that off, and then once they get it paid off, then we get an even bigger bump of that we've worked out in our deal.
Well, there's a huge need for that in the community. Have you talked to Cherokee Nation about their involvement in the project too?
They're excited about it. I think we were just talking, and we're kind of we don't have to have them in this respect. We would like to, but they have a need also. You know, they have as many patients as the rest of the population does too that have that need.
So we're taking in patients, psych patients from all over? How they get back when we're done? They're done.
I've got Stephanie here, she's our hospital administrator, and you jump in when I say something that's not accurate. But when you're in a nursing home, or, you know, it's a VA center, or you know, wherever it may be, and, you know, one of the biggest causes of psychiatric issues are like UTIs with older people. I experienced it with my father. You know, he had dementia, and we're like, oh my gosh, the dementia's gotten worse. Well, no, he didn't. He had a UTI, and it really messes with your mind. I never knew that, but you talk to nursing homes, and they know that very, very well. It's weird. You didn't think it'd be that way, but it happens. And so you know, this is a place that they can come for, what, in 8 to 14 days? There's a time period.
21 days, we make this as long as 21 days in our facility. But kind of, you guys had asked where the patients would come from. The reason they're coming to our facility is the nursing homes. So we got Roland, Salisaw, Diane, Warner, Gore, all those are closed, and that is the drawing factor for us for the psych facility. That's why the positions are going to come. So it would be the majority of our people. So can't say that they wouldn't be people from outside come, but they feel like that the beds will be full at all times from just the nursing homes around us, and that's the drawing for us.
And I think like what Josh was asking is like after the 21 days or 14 days or whatever, whose responsibility is it to get them back to wherever they go back? Are they going back to the same nursing home?
Yeah, that would be the plan, is to go back to where that they came from, yes. Absolutely.
There's some of that psych part that they're not equipped to handle.
Right.
And that's kind of what we do, and that's what those doctors do, and get them in a better position, whether it's medicine or run lab work, which we'll get a lot of lab work and things like that. So it's a good deal.
And keep in mind, it's a Jerry site, so it's not your younger population.
Yes, ma'am.
55 and over.
Well, and you mentioned,
That's about to be me.
What are you trying to say?
and you mentioned the fact that there should be a great need when the VA center opens too. That's gonna also create lots of opportunities for your hospital, not just with the psych unit, but with just all kinds of healthcare for the veterans. I really think that going down the road, that's gonna be a lucrative thing for you all to serve the veterans as much as you can out here too, so, and keep them close by. And so I'm looking at brighter times down the road with all these things coming together is what I'm looking at. And so that's kind of my opinion, that I think it's gonna be on the upswing for something we haven't seen in years, you know, the opportunities we haven't seen in years.
These opportunities, Mayor, have not necessarily been there for us the last 10 years.
Mm-mm.
So that's why a clean slate with some fresh opportunities, we feel like the hospital can get on the right path and be what it's supposed to be.
So with this 12 million?
Yeah.
Will that wipe the slate clean completely?
It will not wipe it all clean, but the terms on the rest of it, first of all, it takes care of everybody outside the hospital.
Okay.
So NHS, we still would owe some money. They're going to forgive some of that, quite a bit, to be honest with you, in an agreement. And then the rest is interest-free, paid out 26 times a year. It's like terms you would never be able to get at a bank. So it's really a sweet deal for that. And it's kind of one of those deals, why would you pay that off with those terms? And I think we can pay it off, depending on how much growth we get. But I think we could pay that off, and I think I ran the math. It's 6.72 years, maybe sooner.
Will y'all still be with NHS?
We will. The answer is yes, we will be with NHS. If something were to happen, and this is kind of in the agreement, if I'm just using a wild example, if a hospital from Tulsa or Oklahoma City or Fort Smith wanted to buy us, they would have that obligation. Or they could work something out, depending on what they wanted to do. But at at this point, yeah, that's the plan.
And the sales tax will cover everything, right?
Could we have comments from the experts about, is there any
Yeah,
risk?
I was gonna let-
What's the risk factor for the city here? That's what everybody's concerned about, is the risk factor for the city. And I don't see it. I mean, would one of you guys want to speak, Chris or Randy?
Randy Nelson, I'm the financial advisor, Chris Byron Bond Counsel's with me. You know, we've done a number of sales tax transactions throughout the state for counties and cities, and done sales tax transactions here in Sallisaw. And based on the $12 million number, which we've worked on with Todd and Robin, that debt service comes in just under $1 million, which is about what your sales tax is collecting currently for the hospital. We still have the use tax, and the use tax is another $170,000. Those two numbers together give us coverage of about 1.2 times. That should give us a solid A rating with Moody's Investors, which is a solid investment grade rating. With that, we get a good rate on our bonds when they're sold, and it really helps us with the interest rates, and then just helps us more with coverage. So I don't foresee any issues as far as a negative there. And then, you know, looking down the road at what's going on with your hospital, with the VA hospital, and more importantly, that little Quick Trip out there, I think you're gonna have some pretty interesting numbers, pretty substantial growth. I wouldn't guess what it is yet, but there's sure a lot of pumps out there at that Quick Trip. And that'll really be a big generator. So I think the coverage is solid. I think your rating's there. You know, if we see that sales tax fall below, you know, 1 time, that sales and use tax together, we're gonna have something really crazy going on. And I don't know if that's a recession. I don't even know if we could get to that. Salisaw's pretty stable. You've got a pretty good footprint. I don't foresee a headache. I think the main thing's, you know, getting the bonds rated, which we've been through a few times with Robin, and getting the rating done, and then having a good interest rate environment. You know, what we don't need are rates moving higher. So right now it seems somewhat stable, but we sure could use a rate cut here soon. Chris, you have anything to add?
Chris?
Commissioners, I would also like to add, the structure we would put in place would be a lot like the financing we did for the Aquatic Center. The bonds would be secured solely by that half-penny sales tax and the use tax. We're gonna flow the use tax through just to get our coverage of our debt services here. We wanna show coverage or revenue going through the authority being here, like 1 1/3 times the debt service, what the debt service is. That use tax would then go back over to your general fund. So we'd have a sales tax agreement, just like we have for the Aquatic Center, and like we had back for the sports complex as well. Those bonds were all secured strictly by the sales tax that was voted for that purpose. Additionally, we've talked about also putting a buffer. The way the sales tax agreement will be structured is that half-penny sales tax will go into an account over on the economic authority side, and it'll be the hospital sales tax fund. We've talked about building a surplus in that fund to be there, and I think, Robert, we discussed 2 months' worth of bond payments, the equivalent thereof, to stay in that fund at all times. So you've got a buffer, so you don't ever, well, I don't say ever, but you should not have to worry about ever having to hit that use tax, because you've already got that use tax devoted to other purposes. So it's not the intent to ever have to hit that use tax. So that would be kind of the way the structure would work.
I just don't see any downside to this. Is anybody seeing any concern that you have with this? I just don't see any downside to it. All I see is positives. I'd like to hear your opinion, fellas, if you see anything.
It's
else.
my opinion, when I look at the big picture of things that are gonna be going on, that the hospital needs to get its legs underneath it so that it can prosper in the future coming up. And if you look at the situation just by itself, it's difficult to wrap your head around it. There's obviously gonna be questions about why this and why that. But when you look at the big picture, I think it's a good move to do it to help the hospital out.
I don't see it down. Pancho, what do you think? You've been around a while too.
No, I mean, I think with the biggest concern, you know, like I told Lynn the other day, the biggest concern is the people, one, are gonna make sure that the taxes are not gonna go up.
Right.
You know, and it's not, the sales tax has been around longer than anybody can tell me. And it doesn't have an end date, so that money will continue to come in at what it is now, or it'll come in greater as the city grows more. So this payment will just be automatically covered, so I think, like you say, I don't really see. Now, I think on the backside of that, the worry is in 10 years, we don't want to be in this position, in 10 more years down the road, having to go through this again. I think that's a possible concern of some people, but, so that's really gonna be on y'all to change it. Get the direction the way it needs to go, do what you need to do. But yeah, and like you said, if you expand the hospital for things that you discussed, then, yeah.
Well, and this is gonna be kind of out of left field, but I've been around and I have known Stephanie Six for a long, long time. And when we were talking about the ambulance concerns that we had several years ago, there was a lot of things that came to my attention that I didn't know were happening at the hospital. Some of them were not very public, but I will say this, that Todd laid it out the other night about the hole we got dug into. And it wasn't it wasn't fun because of COVID and the Medicaid payments and the things that happened that we had no control over. And then I'm gonna be honest with you, there were some management practices that were lacking at that time. But I'm fully convinced that Stephanie Six is gonna be right there, and she's gonna take care of things, and she's gonna manage this hospital well. I have no reservations about her managing this hospital. And I think the hospital board right now is one of the best boards we've seen in a long time. And so I just appreciate the leadership that you all are giving on this and the things you're doing. And I have no reservations about who's running that hospital and who's overseeing with the board. I think it's a fantastic situation right now. So that's my nickel's worth.
We ran these numbers since I spoke with you all last, and on the 12 million, right now, the average payment on that amount would be $77,000 a month. And on our average sales tax that we're bringing in right now, 0.5 cent, we're giving the hospital around $82,000 a month on average. So that's where we kind of felt was a safe playing field with these numbers.
What's the timeline? Like, as soon as, if we make a decision to approve this, what's the next steps?
Randy, what's the next?
Sure, our next step would be prepare an offering statement called a preliminary official statement. We've been through those a few times. We'd start on that in the morning, probably have a good draft ready to go by 1st of January. We'll send it off to the rating agency, get queued in with them, so we'd get a rating probably mid to late January. We'd price bonds a week after that and close a couple weeks after that. 60 days is pretty good rule of thumb. If we get after it with the holiday and all, I think we'd be closed by mid-February. The rating agency is one thing I can't control, and that I can yell at the lawyers a lot, but I can't force those guys to move very fast.
That work for y'all, Todd?
It does. We're trading water right now, or a little bit above water, and we're gonna turn. I'm confident we're gonna turn a profit this winter. So that's we're making the changes. Whatever. This just makes it a lot easier for us. So yeah, 60 days is great.
Okay.
Okay, so we have on this issue, on item 4 and possible action, but then we turn around on 5, we have the motion, or we have the
Resolution?
We don't need a motion on both of 4 and 5, do we? Possible action could be to move right on to 5, right?
That would be my opinion. Sounds
Yeah,
logical to me.
I think we're good if we just move right on to 5 then. Is everybody good with that? Well, we'll do that then. That'll be our possible action, is to move to 5,
Can you
unless
see
you all
this?
have anything else you want to. You have something else, Chris?
I think it's the last item.
Okay.
It's item number 5.
Okay.
What we just did was just
The
discussion.
discussion,
Okay.
yes.
Sir, it's item number 5.
Okay.
The one requires the vote.
Well, that possible action sometimes throws me there on that.
I understand.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move on to item 5 then. Consider and take possible action to adopt Resolution 2024-26, a resolution approving the incurring of indebtedness by the Southside Economic Authority, consenting to the issuance of bonds and evidencing the same, waiving competitive bidding thereon, approving a sales and use tax agreement with the Southside Economic Authority, and containing other provisions relating thereto. Any discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, we adopt resolution 2024-26.
Second.
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Martin?
Absolutely, yes. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for what you're doing. We appreciate you very much. So, do you have anything else you'd like to share?
No, not on here.
Any other council member have anything else they want to add? Then we'll adjourn this meeting with a motion and we'll go to our next meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moody?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes. I'll call the South Economic Authority meeting to order, special meeting on December 17th. We do have a quorum. So again, item 3, consider and take possible action to adopt Resolution 2024-01, which is a resolution authorizing the sale, issuance, and delivery of bonds of the authority, designating and employing bond counsel and financial advisor, authorizing sale thereof at a discount, waiving competitive bidding thereon, approving a sales and use tax agreement with the city of Southpaw, Oklahoma, and containing other provisions relating thereto.
Make a motion, we adopt resolution 2024-01.
Second.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Moody?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes. Motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moody?
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Mendiola?
Yes.
Hamilton?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all very, very much. Thank you for being here.